You know, when you look at Matt Damon and Ben Affleck individually, you might think they've had different popular, good, successful careers, but different from one another. However, if you go back to the late 90s, there's a movie that they wrote together that broke them onto the scene together called Good Will Hunting. And actually, they ended up taking an Oscar home for Best Script. And as a result of that Oscar, they never actually wrote another screenplay together that we know of that ever saw the light of day. They both went on to have their very popular careers, and it just seemed very weird that coming off of that win, they wouldn't have attempted to do it again. Maybe there's reasons we don't know. Maybe there was trouble in paradise. I have no idea. But news broke today that apparently Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are going to play 14th century knights in Ridley Scott's The Last Duel. And this is, again, interesting because if they're going to play 14th century knights, they're both going to don English accents. Not to say that they can't do it. But then again, we also saw Ben Affleck in Shakespeare in Love back in 1997, was it? I don't even remember when it happened. But that being said, what we do know about this is that they have teamed up once again to write a script for a film in which they also may star. Deadline is reporting that the pair are working together with filmmaker Nicole Holof Center for a script adaptation of The Last Duel, the true story of trial by combat in medieval France, and Ridley Scott set to direct it. Now, this is a story of two French knights who are best friends, but become mortal enemies after one returns home and accuses the other of raping his wife while he was at war. The two knights are sentenced to duel to the death, where if the war veteran loses, his wife will be found guilty of falsely accusing his ex-best friend and will be burned at the stake. Now, in the Me Too era, is this one that's going to find a home? I mean, it seems like an interesting story. It's definitely one that's based on a true story. Having Ben Affleck and Matt Damon come together to play these warring best friends does seem like a relatively accurate representation of their life, if not somewhat hyperbolic or exaggerated. They've never had public feuds, but, you know, they've still been best friends for a long time, so they can at least play into that part of everything. And that's probably one of the things that has brought them to that particular juncture, brought them to this particular film. But right now, apparently, the book rights were owned by Fox, and now they're owned by Disney. And so whether or not it falls in line with Disney and their brand and what Alan Horn wants to do with 20th Century Fox films going forward it leaves a lot to be determined. There's a lot of speculation that's going to take place here. If the film does get made, it will be their first film since 1997's Good Will Hunting. And in Hollywood, when you win an Oscar, you immediately try to win another Oscar. The fact that it's been 22 years since they won an Oscar tells you quite a bit about everything since then. They probably got a little bit too distracted with their own very kick-ass film careers. But no, this particular story does seem very interesting. It does seem very fascinating. And it does seem like a very, good character study film, a very good character driven film, and one that Ridley Scott is very good at telling those kind of stories. I would rather this be more what was that one he did about the Crusades? Which one he did about the Crusades? You know the one I'm talking about. Then it is, and I can't think of it right now for some reason. But he also did that one, Exodus, Gods and Kings. Like, not that. We want more the good one, not the bad one. And that's kind of Ridley Scott in a nutshell. But I do think Ridley will push for this movie to get made on a lower budget, on a smaller budget, because I do think that he would want to work on this because it could be considered Oscar gold, with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck having both been Oscar winners for writing the script for script writing, and they're both talented actors in their own right who can pull in box office numbers, as well as maybe his attempt at proving to Disney that he can turn a profit on an R-rated movie and then get the rights or get the permission per se in order to finish the last film in his Alien trilogy that no one is asking for. I at this point now, when it comes to Ridley Scott, I think anything he does wants to lead him back to finishing the Covenant trilogy or Prometheus trilogy, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, the prequel trilogy for Aliens. That's how I view what he's up to now. But I leave it to you, your thoughts, your opinions. How do you think this is going to play out? What do you think he's going to do? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.